Hi everyone, welcome back to Random Spirit Podcast. I am your host, Cynthia. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to take a moment to share something I'm extremely passionate about, something I hold very near my heart. You all know that I'm into healing, breaking generational trauma, chakras, ancestral trauma, and just healing the fuck out of that. I've created a program helping you heal and align through your chakras. If you're feeling stuck, disconnected, stagnant, unsure of how to move forward in your spiritual journey, in your healing journey, your girl is here to hold space for you. As a psychic medium and healer, I've created this program, which is called Journey to Self 70 Days of Healing Generational Trauma from the Root to the Crown. This deeply transformative journey designed to help you heal, align, and rediscover who you are outside of these roles that we play in life. This program is designed for those who feel like the black sheep, misunderstood, heal generational trauma through chakra healing. We're freeing ourselves from old patterns so that we can reclaim the repressed parts of ourselves. We can love those parts of ourselves and we can step into our authenticity and into our power. I know that being on your spiritual journey, starting your healing journey, it's a lot. It is overwhelming. I have been there. This is why I am offering a free session called Break the Cycle Chakra Scan. Now, this is just like a little snippet. This is a little taste of what I have in Journey to Self. I scan one chakra wherever spirit leads me, one chakra, and I tune into your energy. I focus on that and I channel any insights to better understand any blockages, imbalances that you have in that energy center. I'll also share actionable guidance and activities and just things so that you can go on and better connect with this energy center. We're connecting to our chakras. If this speaks to you, I would absolutely love to support you on your healing journey. I have a link that's going to be in the show notes that you guys can go on and book. Again, this is free to anyone that is absolutely sure that they want to join my Journey to Self 70 Days of Healing Generational Trauma. Reach out to me on Instagram or you can email me. I have everything in the show notes. Spaces are limited, especially for the free chakra scans. So don't wait too long to go on and claim your spot. Every journey begins with a small step. I would be honored to guide you on your healing journey. All right, let's dive in today's episode. Go on and grab your snacks, grab a drink, get comfortable. I hope you all enjoy this episode just as much as I did making it. Welcome, Laurie, life coach Laurie and Santos, the emotionally free woman. How did you come up with that? That's beautiful.
You know what? I really feel like I didn't come up with it. And I know you know what I mean when I say
It's
that.
it's who you are.
Well, I feel like it came in a download. She appeared to me, if you will, this archetype. So, one of the struggles that I felt that I had as a solopreneur running my own practice, which I feel like you and probably all your
Yes.
listeners really probably get, is especially if you're a healer or a coach, therapist, etc. This you have to niche, you have to niche, you have to niche thing.
Right?
Oh my goodness. And it was really, really wearing on my soul. It was
Mhm.
really, I have to say that has been probably my biggest struggle or challenge with business and being a
Mhm.
coach now in my 22nd, almost 23rd year. And so I just been working on it, just trying to streamline more and get clear on what's my message, who am I, who am I for, what is
Yeah.
it that I represent. And I mean, I went from manifestation coach to life purpose coach. Like all the things
It
because
be like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And of course there's, they overlap and all that jazz. And when I first got certified as a coach, it was just straight up a life coach, certified coach. And then of course I became an advanced EFT tapping therapist as, as part of that, if you will. So it's like I don't know like what's my niche. And so it was it earlier this year or the end of last year? Anyway, it wasn't that long ago. Let's just say it that way.
Yeah.
And all of this, I was like, how do I bridge everything I'm trained in and all of my modalities essentially under one umbrella? And I wrote this like 55-page book, a little freebie. It's actually you can get it on my Instagram and everything.
Yes.
And I kept looking at that and I was like, this is it. This makes sense. I was really able to bridge all the gaps. And then all of a sudden, I just heard, like you do, just this download. You need an archetype, and your archetype is the emotionally free woman. I was like,
Oh
it's like
my
angels singing. I
God.
was like, oh my God, that is it. Duh. Emotionally, emotional
Yes.
techniques is what I'm trained in.
Oh
And
my
then I started
God.
talking to her and writing to her and imagining this archetype was talking to me and writing to me. Then I'd go on AI and I'd say, like, make me an image of this woman that I call the archetype of emotional freedom. And this is
Hmm.
what she stands for and what she represents. And then I would get these images from AI and I'm like, oh my God, yeah, that's what she looks like. And it kind of, if you want to feel like she became like a spirit guide, if you will. And then I created, well, I don't even want to say I created. I feel like it was channeled or inspired through
Yes.
who she is and what she represents and what she's about. And really what happened, Cynthia, was I started going through all of the people, all of the clients that I've had over my 2-decade practice and trying to see like what's the common thread? What's the red line between them? What do they
Hmm.
all have going on? And what I saw was, even though I have worked with men, the vast majority of people I've worked with are women.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what it is? They all feel like they are not safe to receive. These women, because they've not been taught to receive, that it's okay to receive, they then get really out of their feminine energy
Yeah.
and
Dang.
they get into this over giving, over functioning, over offering, over controlling, over
She's
everything.
calling me out.
Oh, trust me, hey, I've been this woman myself. There are definitely shades and layers still that I'm
Yes. Yes.
myself still working on deconditioning. So you are not alone. Yeah, and of course, when this archetype came to me, she's also speaking to me too.
Yeah.
It wasn't just only for my clients. I feel like everything I do with my clients, I must do myself. Like it's important
Hmm.
for me to embody this work and for me to keep healing and keep working on
Yeah.
myself. So that was the first message that I got from her. It's like, look at what the common thread is between all of your clients and essentially what's holding them back from getting
Hmm.
long-lasting, sustainable results. And it wouldn't matter what I did with my clients if we were not able to nip that one thing in the bud,
Yeah.
being able to receive.
Hmm.
Uh, it wouldn't matter how many exercises we did, how much tapping
Yeah.
we did, it wouldn't last, it wouldn't stick, it wouldn't stay because they were not able to grant themselves permission and believe that they
Hmm.
can receive. And that funnels into so many other things. If you don't believe that you're safe to receive or that you have permission to receive, then that means you don't receive rest. You won't receive emotional rest, mental rest, psychological rest, physical
Hmm.
rest, any kind of rest, maybe even financial rest you won't grant yourself. You won't allow yourself to follow your body's natural rhythms and the rhythms of nature and the rhythms
Hmm.
of cosmos because you're constantly going against who you truly are, the essence of you, the core of you.
Hmm.
So you're not rested. If you're not following your body's natural rhythms and you're pushing against your body and you're forcing it to keep going and you're having it go into overdrive, the next piece of it is you're not resourced. You're not allowing yourself to fill up. And you
Yeah.
also more than likely are in such a real strong controlling place that if people offer you help or support, you will say, oh, no, 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 it's okay. I got it. Don't worry about it. And then you just keep taking everything on.
Hmm.
Design perspective, then you get into that not self place. So if you're a woman as a manifester, now you're in that angry place. You don't feel free. You don't want to improve.
Huh.
Mhm.
Wow.
And then if you're like a manifesting generator woman, now you're extremely impatient and dissatisfied and
My
frustrated.
kids,
Yeah. And then if you're us,
women
the
together.
projectors, now you're bitter and resentful and you feel like a victim and you don't feel recognized and seen and appreciated and valued. You don't feel successful.
Wow.
And then if you're a reflector woman, you are disappointed and you don't feel like you can trust the lunar cycle to take decisions. You probably are isolating or you have fear of missing out and you're just running on adrenaline. You're extremely disappointed and you
Mhm.
don't believe in the surprise and the awe and the wonder and the delight of life, you're more in a place of despair and probably also extremely physically sick. So that's what I started to
Huh.
see. Yeah. And so I always look at it like the emotionally free woman is not only an emotionally free woman, but she's also an emotionally free manifestor woman or an emotionally free manifesting generator woman or emotionally free generator woman or us, a project, emotionally free projector
Yeah.
woman, etc. Yeah. So when I work with people, then I really want to be using their chart to inform me who they are. So that way, if you're a manifester and I'm working with you in my approach of being an emotionally free manifester woman, then I want to be using your chart to inform me on how to customize that and make
Hmm.
it happen through your specific energy and your specific circuitry. Yeah.
Hmm. It
Yeah.
just amazes me. I love learning about the EFT, and I feel like human design. I love astrology. Astrology is one thing, but I think like human design to me is like how you build a car. I sit here and like the main thing that I know, just like from what I've, and you can tell me if it's like correct or not, but my girls, Scarlett and Alea, are manifesting generators. And every time like I speak to someone that does human design, they're like, and you're a projector? And I'm like, yeah. And they go, whoo. And I'm like, tell me more. And from what I've heard, my girls, Laurie, they have so much energy,
Yes, yes,
so
yes.
much energy. And I'm just
Energies are
like,
bunny energy, like never stopping.
Scarlett and Alea, and they're autistic. So they get excited, they jump, they
Yeah.
flap. And Scarlett does this thing where she spins.
Oh,
And I'm like,
wow.
I'm looking at her and I'm like, you don't have a headache? And she stops, no. And she spins faster. And then like she stops and she's able to walk in a straight line. I'm like,
Yeah, wow.
I have a headache.
Amazing. Oh my goodness gracious. You know what? I know why people are saying that to you, being obviously because I'm a fellow projector, like you're a projector.
Yes.
And of course, there are differences, very dynamic differences between
Yeah.
manifesting generators and projectors, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But that does not mean that it is not possible to parent them in a way that supports you as well as
Yeah.
them. And it also doesn't mean that it isn't possible for them to channel their energy and to be in a peaceful, grounded, satisfied place. And that's where we get into, with respect to human design, what's called strategy and authority. You understanding your
Huh.
own strategy and your own
Okay.
authority, as well as them understanding their strategy and authority, and you understanding their strategy and authority, them
No,
understanding
yeah.
your strategy and authority. So that way you can respect and honor and appreciate the differences between your design types without it, getting in the way.
Huh. Because I'm like, my strategy is,
So
I
you're here
don't
to,
know.
I'll tell you, because I know.
You're like, I know, Cynthia.
I know, because, just like you, I'm nosy. So I've been diving into your chart. Your profile is a 6'2",
Mhm.
and you're what's called a splenic projector. So if there's any projectors that are listening in, there are actually 5 types of projectors. No
That's a
projector.
lot.
Yeah.
That's a
And really what
lot.
that 5 type is based on is our different types of personal authority. So you have splenic authority, which is you. Your spleen is defined. Yeah, yeah. And you don't have any motors. We could dive into that later. But anyway, that's where you get your decision making from, is from your spleen. Your spleen informs you the best decisions to take in your life. And when you listen to that spleen, you literally cannot go wrong. Now, it's when you don't listen to the spleen that the
No.
drama and the chaos and the confusion can bump off.
So
Yeah.
what that looks like, I'm curious because I've always been told that I'm impulsive.
And you
It's
know
this
what?
it's this feeling in my body. And it's like,
You
I
tell me.
just,
Yes, yes. Tell me about it because you're describing already your splenic
yeah,
hits. I
okay.
interrupted you, but yeah,
No,
talk.
it's okay. It's like, I get this, like, this feeling, and oh,
I'm
how can I describe it? It's just like,
gonna
it's
ask, is
this,
on your left side of your body by chance?
I haven't honed it down like that.
Okay.
It's an energy. It's like excitement, but not like hanging.
Mm.
But I'm like excited, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. And then I have anxiety just in general, and like I do get like a little bit of anxiety, but I'm able to control it, and I just do whatever. Now I've had it to where I don't, and I have this like part of me. There's been multiple times where like I'll feel something and I'm like, eh, and then it'll come back and I'm like, no. And that's where I use the logic. I don't know what you call it, where it's like the reality, like realistically, this is what it is. But
Oh, yeah, the
in
rationale.
internally and like intuitively, I'm like, Cynthia, do this. But then the outside, it's kind of like the best way I could describe it, the whole cliff analogy, where you're on a cliff, your spirit guides, God, your body's like jump, and you're
Yeah,
like, but look how deep it is,
yeah,
like, you know, and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like just jump, and you're just like, no, just jump. That's how it feels when I don't listen.
Yeah. Okay. So now tell me what happens when you do listen. You said, you described it. There's this feeling in my body, and it's just the
Mm-hmm.
knowingness. And when you do listen, what happens on the other side of that for you?
Okay, so the other person's receptive. It goes good.
And then I want to address what you said regarding people telling you you're impulsive. So, and this is specific about the splenic projector. The splenic projector gets these splenic hits, just like you described, where it's like it's a clear yes or a clear no. And you
Yep.
may hear this little fast fleeting voice, do that, go, yes,
Yes,
this
I do. I
maybe.
do.
And some splenics
Mm-hmm.
don't. Some splenics tell me, no, it's just a feeling. Like I'll feel like a punch on my
I
side
get
or
both.
yeah. And that's the other thing. That's exactly what I was just going to say. Some people tell me they get the voice and the feeling, the
Mm-hmm.
hit. On the flip side of that, and that's what you're supposed to listen to. That is what you're supposed to do. Just like you said, like
Yeah.
that is your decision-making informant, your messenger
Mm-hmm.
of the direction to go. And the challenge for splenics like you is when they're growing up, are usually conditioned against their spleen. So it
Yes.
could be whoever is raising them doesn't have splenic authority like you do. They have a different authority, and their authority is saying something contrary to what your inner authority is saying, what your personal authority is saying. And then that's very, very challenging for the splenic child, splenic teenager, etc., even the
Yeah.
splenic adult,
Mm-hmm.
when people are saying, but you're impulsive, and it's like, you're actually not impulsive as a splenic. You have the most ancient awareness running through your body because the
Mm-hmm.
spleen in human design is the most ancient awareness center within this entire system. It is very old and has ancestral information, very powerful intuitive guide. And so while others in your life might not have that as an intuitive guide for themselves, it
Yeah.
might not be their authority. That's the thing about personal authority. It's freaking personal.
Mhm.
It's for
No,
you.
I'm learning how to just like listen to my body, because now just like having this conversation, I think I've had anxiety my whole life. And when it comes to decision making, I tend to be very like indecisive when I don't listen to the that ball of energy, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what, let's talk about that because you have what we call in human design a lot of openness. There are 9 centers in the human design body graph.
How do we
And
close it, Laurie? How do we
well, you
go?
don't. Well, I back off on saying that. You do in a way, but I'll get to that in a second. You have 7 of those 9 open, 7 of those centers undefined. That isn't a bad thing. That's where the wisdom comes in. That's where your psychic ability comes in, by the way.
Mm,
So your psychic ability is coming because you have an open head, you have an open ajna, and that is exactly where you are getting all of this
oh, the
psychic
download.
through. Yeah. You also get your psychic ability through your undefined emotional solar plexus, because that's where you pick up on the emotions of things.
That's
So
where my stomach, like I can tell when it's gonna be a good day and I can tell when it's gonna be a bad day. Like I feel it in my gut.
and that's actually your job. That's where you now want to really rely on your spleen, because it doesn't have to be a bad day. It just could be that, oh, I picked up these sensations. I'm a projector. I absorb this energy, or I absorb these emotions from other people. I get to discern, is this my energy? Is this not my energy? Did I pick up
Mhm.
these emotions from others? Did I absorb this through my emotional solar plexus in this case? And if I did, that's okay. I just need to leave. I just need to move from the scene. I need
Yeah,
to get alone, discharge this
that's
energy.
what I do.
It's super important.
You're
Every
reading me.
projector needs, yeah, every projector, because I'm a fellow projector. So we really
Yes.
need to sit in our aura a lot. And we do better with one-on-one connections. That's why you really dig podcasting, by the way. Because
Yes,
you get to,
girl.
yeah, you get to run the show. You get to talk as long as you want to. You get to be one-on-one. This is really your opportunity to connect. That's something that's very projector. We projectors, we lock into the other person. We lock into their soul essentially, and we can scan everything that they are about and see the potential of the
Yeah.
other person, even if that other person can't. So for you, it really is about discerning situations that feel healthy for you, situations and people who honor your splenic hits, people who are not going to talk you out of what
Hmm.
may appear impulsive to them, but you're like, no, this is an emphatic decision. I know
Yeah.
this is right. It came from my body. My spleen directly told me,
Hmm.
you might not feel like it's good for you in your life, but I know it's good for me and mine. And the more that you practice that, Cynthia, as a splenic projector, the easier life is going to go. The more you're going to feel recognized, seen, valued, and
Hmm.
appreciated, and absolutely successful. Projectors are here to be successful. We are here to see the other. And when we
Hmm.
choose correct invitations that are really aligned for us and what we're made up
Hmm.
of, where people are like, you know what, you're really a wise guy. Like, I really trust you. I really feel
Hmm.
you're this podcast is dope. Like, I want to help you. I want to support you. I want to get this podcast,
Hmm.
out there so people hear it. Now,
Yeah.
like, wow, they're really seeing me. They really get it.
Hmm.
And that more than likely would feel like a correct invitation for you. And then that's an invitation that you could say yes to. You're going to get
Yeah.
invited to a lot of stuff, huh? Like projectors do get invited to a lot of stuff, but it's not always correct. And that's where your spleen, you need to just keep listening to that spleen. Does spleen say this is a good invitation? Spleen's like, nope, it's not. Okay, keep it moving. Spleen says it is a good invitation. All right, we can say yes to this. This is going
Hmm.
to deposit it into my success bank, if
No,
you will.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
Anxiety. Oh, sorry. That was the other thing I wanted to say. The anxiety piece. Anxiety, I imagine you have had a lot of anxiety. Every splenic projector that I work with has told me I have had anxiety my whole life. And that is
Yes.
simply because every splenic that I've also worked with has had open head and open ajna, just like you. And when they're talked out of their spleen, the first thing that happens is the energy goes directly up to that pressure center of the head. The head is a pressure center
Hmm.
designed to think. But when it's open like yours, you start taking in the anxiety of everybody else and their thoughts and their ideas and their words and
Yeah.
their and you think it's yours, but it actually isn't. And so where we just talked about like splitting your aura out of theirs, like getting out of their energy, going off and being by yourself,
It's
you don't
been like
notice it. Yeah.
that
It just dispels, it
recently.
goes away. Yeah. So it's not your anxiety, you see? And that's why it's really cool.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not your anxiety. Yeah. Yeah.
It's nice to know
Is
that
spleen, how you know you're in the spleen is when you're not in your head, when you're not overthinking, you're not ruminating, you're
right
not,
now.
should I not, should I not,
I'm in
not,
my
yeah.
spleen.
This is how you know you're in your spleen and you're operating from your spleen and you are essentially in yourself with a capital S. You're in your not self energy as a splenic when you're in that overthinking, you're in that ruminating, should I not? That's a clear indicator. When you're all up in your head, you're out of your spleen, you're out of your authority with respect to your human design.
That's amazing. I feel like I'm learning just like your girl's 31, right? I feel like I'm now learning because energy at my parents can be pretty heavy. It's this feeling. It's just like a whoosh, and I'm like, let's go. I need to go
Yeah,
outside. Let's
good
go
for
out.
you.
I'll grab a water, I don't know, some snacks, because I'm like, it's either an anxiety attack or I need to get out of the energy. We'll go out, we'll
Yeah.
walk to the park, and I'm like, oh, it feels
Yep.
good.
It all changes. We projectors really need to be in nature and we need to be in it a lot. Nature is really our playground. It's also really where we discharge energy the most
Mhm.
because every single aura, the types in human design have their own aura. So
Oh,
you and I have,
wow.
yeah, yeah. And this is
What
where human design
what's
is
an
super.
aura? Like define the aura in the human design.
Yeah, so the aura is your energetic field. It's the field that basically surrounds your whole body, like from head to toe, in front of you, to the sides of you, behind you. You know,
Mhm.
oftentimes when you hear somebody say, like, I felt you before you came in the room, like
Yes, yes.
they're feeling the essence of you, they're feeling your energy. Or you know, when someone says, like, wow, you have a black cloud hanging over your head today, you know,
I
like you're
do that a lot. I tell
yeah,
people,
you know, you feel the energy of the person,
yes.
right? Well, that's your aura. And you know, you'll hear different people say different things. Some people will say it spans 3 to 5 feet. Some people will say it spans even bigger than that, 18 feet.
You have a beautiful aura, Laurie. I feel
Oh,
motherly vibes.
you know what? I have a gate that is like the gate of
A
mother
mother?
in human design. Yeah, that's really funny. That's really interesting. And I'm also a Taurus, so I always feel like that is
Yes.
definitely part of it. But you know what else, Cynthia? I also feel because I really do the work. Like I do the work every single day.
Yes.
And I've been doing it for a really long time. And that doesn't mean I'm perfect. I have a lot of
No,
days when
yeah.
I'm like, what am I doing? What is going on? But I feel like I still have created a foundation of doing this work that even when I have those days, I know exactly where I'm going back to. And I also, you know, you and I have a sixth line. You're a 6'2", I'm a 6'3", and a lot of that is part of the sixth line. The sixth line is the role model. They're here to embody life experiences to share with other people. And you're in what's called stage 2, and I got just now into stage 3 this year, May
Huh.
2020. Yeah, so the sixth line has a 3-stage life. So the first stage of life is 0 to about 30 years old, and then 30 to
Oh,
50.
wow.
All 6 lines, like you and I, we go up on the roof is what it's called, and you go
I've
into a
heard that.
fast. You go into this deep observation period where you're here to integrate all the lessons that you experienced in stage 1. Because stage 1 for us is like a chaotic period, lots of experimentation, lots of trial and error, lots of
Our
figuring
childhood.
that too, right? Oh my goodness gracious, lots of trauma.
But no, for real. Wow. Because, like,
Yeah,
I've
and
heard
then
the
yeah,
stage two is how you explaining the roof. I
yeah, you go up
think
on
I've
the
heard
roof.
people say it's you observe, right?
Yeah. Yep, it is. It's literally like if you imagine a house, the sixth line would literally be up on the roof. And you have the biggest vantage point when you're on a roof. You're able to look up, look out, look down,
Oh.
look in the house, look at what people are doing in the neighborhood, right? And so therefore, that sixth line is kind of like all seeing in a way, just seeing everything, seeing all these different perspectives. At the same time, if you're up on the roof, you know, you're like far enough away that you don't get into the chaos anymore, into the drama, or, you know, into the flat. Yeah. And so here's what it is with you being in stage 2 now, stage 2, or anybody listening who's going into stage 2, this is a period of deep reflection. It's also a period of like really finding out like what are your tools? What are your tools and practices that really support you, like
Hmm.
who you want to be, how you want to live your life. And stage 2 is also about integration. So it's really a time of being very, very patient with yourself, giving yourself a lot of care, and looking back over the years from age 0 to 30
Hmm.
and going, okay, let me give myself a lot of integration time. It's time to integrate all that stuff because it's kind of like people of a six line live the life of like 1,000 people, whereas people who don't have that six
Oh.
line don't have, and in a short period of time. It's just a lot of
A
integration
lot of
that has to
lessons.
happen.
Okay, so
Lots
you're
of lessons.
you're a 6'3", I'm a 6'2". So
You're
I just
six.
entered my six. I just entered my two line.
Yeah, you just entered your stage two. So there are
Stage.
three. So your profile is a 6-2, and
Yeah.
then the sixth line has a three-stage life: stage one, stage two, stage three. Stage two is the stage where you go up on the roof, and you're here to
Um,
figure out in stage two who and what is worth coming down off the roof for. So it's really
oh.
kind of like a values assessment time, a boundary setting
Oh
time.
my
And
God.
yeah, there also could be, cutting of bonds where you're like, you know what, this person's not worth coming down off the roof. That person's not worth coming down off the roof. This thing is not worth coming down off the roof for anymore. This environment is not worth coming down off the roof and going into anymore. And you're in this stage for 20 years. And it's a really great time actually to build a business, like a slow,
Oh,
steady, and strong foundation of a business, for example, because you're really, really coming into
wow.
you. And by the time that you get into stage three, which is when you hit age 50, and this is
Yeah.
when you technically are like coming down off of the roof and you are blossoming into the full role model where you've
Mm.
integrated your life lessons and you have really, really discerned who and what is for you. Now you go out into the world and you live that. And then people just watch you basically doing what you do. And they're like, well, I want me some of that. How is she
No,
doing
yeah.
that? Yeah. Mhm.
That is okay. So the sixth line has three.
Yeah, three stages. Yeah.
The fifth line has how many? Or is it all three?
Nothing. They don't know. We're the only ones that have a three-stage life. Those who have a six line. So five lines don't have a three-stage life.
So is it just 5-1?
So there are six lines, and
Hmm.
then you take two lines to make a profile. So in your case, you have a six line and a two line, and your profile is a 6-2. In my case, I have a six line and a three line, and my profile is a 6-3. So the lines are line one, line two, line three, line four, line five, line six.
Okay, okay.
And then we have 12 profiles in total. So your profile being that 6-2, my profile being that 6-3. But the other profiles, for example, there's a 1-3, there's a 1-4,
Oh,
yeah, 2-4,
okay.
2-5, yeah.
That, I
And
mean, that's a
this is
lot
getting
of
a little
knowledge.
bit trippy, but your profile and my profile is only one of four profiles that is called a transpersonal profile. So the 6-2, so the 5-1, the 5-2, the 6-2, and the 6-3 are the only four of the 12 profiles that are what are called transpersonal. So those four profiles are here to be karma cleaner uppers.
We're exhausted, all right?
Are
We're
exhausted.
tired. I'm tired. I'm tired of this grandpa.
And it
I'm
is
tired.
it's trippy. It's trippy to have this the trend. You can speak to it, I know, because off the podcast time we've talked about a little
Yes.
history. Um, but it's deep, it's intense. These four profiles have a lot
Been
of
through it.
intensity. Yes, and also, like it is said, past life experiences, because we're here cleaning up the karma. So there's obviously a lot of everybody that I've met that has
Yeah.
these one of these four transpersonal profiles has shared with me that yes, they have done lots of cleaning
Work.
up with past lives, myself included.
Mhm.
So that is not uncommon. So if any of your listeners have a 5-1 or a 5-2, or a 6-2 or 6-3 profile like we have, they may be nodding their head and they may be going, "Oh my God, yes, thank you. Well, I thought I was nuts. I thought I was crazy." And it explains
No.
a lot when you come into human design and you realize that's part of your design with one of those four profiles.
What got you into all this like amazingness? Like what got you into human design?
Yeah. You know what? I believe that human design or any system that knocks your socks off finds you. So I have always been a seeker. And even ever since I was a child, I had you might even say like religiosity. So I was raised in a Catholic house, and I remember my mom
Yes.
taking us to Catholic mass, and then my mom became a Catholic school teacher, and I was just insane over like the smell of the incense. I couldn't wait to go to church.
I
I
love the smell.
Right. Like, I don't know. I just felt like I was taken to another world. And I feel, of course, at that really young age, too, you still have such deep connection with
Mhm.
the other side. And I just remember feeling really at home there and in love with like the stained glass. And I was really in love with Mary and Jesus. And I was praying
Mhm.
all the time. And I was like hella young. It was
Oh
really
my
fun.
God.
And that was with me for a very long time. And then I
Oh wow.
had an out of body experience when I was 10. And I remember I told my parents about it the next morning, and they both just looked at each other. Like, I'll never forget their look. Like it was really funny. And I was like, what's the big deal? Like, why are they acting like that? But it made me feel like something's up here, something special. There's something interesting going on. And then that energy just carried on throughout my whole childhood and my whole teenage years. Now, my mom, she's a 1-3 splenic projector. And 1-3s are known to
Okay.
be very interested into the occult. And that was my
Oh,
mom. So she had all these pagan books. She had
dude, that's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. And she had us playing the Ouija board. So I'm born in the 70s. So this is like something. I'm
Laurie.
not joking. I'm not joking. And people are like, your mom did what? Like, yeah, she did. And it was fun. Like I remember loving
No,
it.
yeah.
And then
No,
she
no bad experiences.
no, we didn't have any bad experiences, but she was always like saying to my dad, you're pushing the machine. Like, so
Stop pushing it. Let it push go.
she really was serious about it, like really wanting to have a real experience. And that was like our Friday nights for like a lot of years. Like we were
Dude,
doing,
that's
right?
amazing.
And then she started really getting into paranormal and reading books
My
on ghosts.
dad's into that. My dad watches
Really?
YouTube stuff. Yes, girl. He's like
Yeah.
into like on Facebook. He like I seen he was into those Spanish like paranormal. Girl,
Wow.
wow.
Oh
Continue.
my
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
There's
no,
a
no,
lot of
no. I
deep
love it. It's
synchronicities.
totally no, interrupt me anytime. Yeah, so all that. So then she started reading books on mediums and all kinds of stuff. So, but I do remember, I'm not sure how long ago this was, maybe like 15 years ago or something like that. I was living overseas, but I had come home to visit and stay with my mom and dad. And she was sharing that she did not tell my dad. She didn't tell anybody. I was the only person she had told that she had been having nightly dreams with a student she had gone to high school with, whom she had always wondered about, whom had been drafted into Vietnam. And she had heard that
Oh my,
he was missing, but she never knew if he had died or what the story
oh
was.
my
And it
God.
bothered her, it plagued her. And I think because she was constantly thinking about him,
Hmm.
he never dated or anything, and they weren't even really great friends, but she
Yeah.
just remembered him being like a kind person who always said hello to her. And that impressed her, I believe, also
Hmm.
because she's a projector. She felt seen essentially by him.
Yes, yes.
And so she then had that channel open. She had that sort of telepathy available,
Oh
if you will.
wow.
And then she would go to sleep this one particular year, and he started paying her visits every single night while she was sleeping.
That
And
is,
yeah, so 15 years ago, she's telling me this story, and he came to her. Also, there was a reason. So she, at that time, would take her class to Washington, D.C. every single year with a particular program. And he essentially knew on a psychic level that, she was going to go to the Vietnam Memorial Wall and she would have access to these places. So he basically was giving her assignments and tasks to complete while going on that trip.
oh,
So she takes that trip, and one of the things he wanted her to do was to go to the memorial wall and take a piece of paper, as they do, with a pencil, and find his name, you know,
girl.
and she did it. She did it. She did all the things he wanted her to do. And then one night, so at first he was appearing to her in his camis and his camouflage, but then one night he came in his Delta blues with pink roses, which and basically telepathically said to her, thank you, because I guess his soul was in limbo all those years.
And
And by
she
her,
helped him in a
she
way.
did, she helped him cross over. And, she totally helped him cross over. And she's telling me this story. And I'm like, Mama, this is so beautiful. This gift is so important. But you know what she told me? She was like, I don't want this gift. Like, I was sweating every single night. It really, really disturbed me. But I believe if my mom, we talked about my parents the last time that we were
Yes,
here.
yes,
And
yes,
I feel
yes.
like if that dynamic were different, or maybe she was living alone or sleeping alone, for example, maybe then she wouldn't have this worry or this fear. I don't know if she felt
Hmm.
like in her mind that she was like cheating on my dad or something. I don't know.
Hmm.
But I was like, Mama, like, this is such an important gift. There are souls, who need this. I
That's
mean,
beautiful.
imagine this was in the 70s that he was actually drafted in the late 60s. I don't know how long he was there before he passed. It was that his helicopter crashed. She was ultimately able to determine that. And I guess
Wow.
the assignments that she gave him confirmed for him that he left his body. He was no longer in this time space continuum, that he had passed and he had crossed over. But I guess his soul was like hanging out, like it was in limbo land. So she basically denounced that gift. She had told me one other story of a cousin who had passed away, and the same thing happened, but all he needed was like 2 visits. And then he was like, okay, I got the message. I'm not here anymore.
That
And
is,
those 2 times rocked her. They just rocked her. And so I guess like with my mom's openness though, technically, like with the Ouija and this, the
does she
spiritual,
have an open head?
she does. She does. She only has her spleen defined like you, and her
Hmm.
heart, also known as her ego center, defined. So she also only has two defined centers. So she has 7 centers open just like you do. For me, I
Wow.
only have 4 centers. So I have my head
Hmm.
defined, my ajna defined, my throat defined, and my G center defined. And then
Hmm.
all the rest is open. So I have 5 open centers. And my husband, he's a mental projector. So he has his ajna defined and his throat defined, and everything below that is open. And his head is also open. So he just has two defined
Hmm.
centers. He's much like your son. Mental projectors are closest to the reflector. So he's almost a reflector. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's in human design, they do kind of use the word undefined and open interchangeably, but there
Hmm.
really actually is a distinction. So somebody who has an open center, if it's completely open, then they have no gates activated. But someone who has a center undefined, it's not colored in on the chart, and they have some gate activation, then
Hmm.
that's technically undefined. So with my husband, he has 3 completely open centers. He has 3 centers that have no gate activations at all. And yeah, also reflectors and mental projectors are the only ones who have what's called outer authority, and the rest of us have inner authority. So that's also why reflectors and mental projectors are very, very similar, because they get their authority from outside of them. They don't have a center within them that is an authority center. So what they do is they go out into the world and they sample environments and they sample conversations and they sample people, they sample ideas, they sample feedback, they sample opinions, and then they go back and they sit with themselves. Well, if they're operating their authority and their
Hmm.
strategy, then this is what they do. And they go back and sit with themselves, and it might take a whole lunar cycle, 28, 29 days, for them to actually take the decision on all that stuff that they just sampled.
Oh.
Reflectors and mental projectors, when they have to take a big decision, and when we talk about big decision in human designs, we're talking life decisions. We're talking, do I want this job?
Yes. Yeah.
Do I want to go to this school? Do I want to be in this relationship? Do I want to leave this marriage, for example? That for them is really the longer that they take, the better, and
Mm.
more appropriate decision that they're going to have. And I call them moon babies, or if you're a reflector, you're like a lunar goddess, or a lunar god. Like, you really are here to commune with the moon, understand the moon cycles, follow the moon cycles. Those who are a
Oh,
mental
wow.
projector and a reflector, the moon is your friend. It really, really is. Yeah.
Wow. I'm gonna have to introduce Sebastian to the full moons.
Totally, you have to. And then Yeah, and you'll probably find he will start to really thrive the more that you explain the moon to him and have him understand the moon and connect with the moon and follow the moon cycles. He'll probably really start to thrive, and you'll see
Yeah.
radiance from him. Yeah,
We used to charge our crystals. We used to drink moon water. Sebastian's only 4. It's really nice because I don't really hear much about reflectors. And it's really nice to just hear because I have like some impatience in me. And I'm like, okay, let's go, quick, quick, come on. And it's like, it's nice to hear with Sebastian, not to pressure him
yeah,
and just
no,
like, because 30, like 28 to 30 days is long. I'm
yeah,
like,
it can.
why haven't you made a decision already?
Yeah, yeah. And so it doesn't have to be small decisions like what to eat or what to.
Well,
Sometimes people mix that up, when they're like getting into the human design system and they can like take it like, too hardcore. But yeah, on those bigger decisions, like when it comes to a school, changing school, for example, changing a teacher.
yes, because we've talked about it, his energy, and I've told myself, Cynthia, like it just came to me. I was like, Cynthia, just wait it
Yeah.
out, just give it some time. But
And that's where
girl,
you're going to have a little bit of a difference too, because your spleen is going to be
hmm
like, oh, now go, yes, right? Um, and as you get older, like you may see with Sebastian, where he's like, no, mom, I need more time. Like, I really, really, really need more time. And what can happen with a reflector is they can have that fear of missing out because they have this lunar authority like we just said, 28 to 29 days for a full lunar cycle.
hmm
And of course, being a kid, being a teenager, being in your 20s and all
yes,
that,
yes, yes.
like all your friends are like, no, come on, let's go right now, like we should go and go to this school or we should go do that.
hmm
And there can be that tendency of like fear of missing out, and maybe just go with everybody else because he is getting authority from the outside. But technically, what he'll need to remember later on is he's getting authority from the moon. He's getting authority from those lunar cycles. That's where the outside authority is best for him.
Connect with the moon. Let's dance with the moon.
Yeah.
You know those
I don't know
those
if you
people
you
that go in the
probably
forest. Those people that
yeah.
go and we have the fire and
Yes.
I'm that mom. Okay.
Yeah. I
Oh my
don't
God.
remember this, but Sandra Bullock used to be married, and Sandra Bullock is a reflector. So she used to be married to this guy, and he had a show, and the show was like fixing up cars.
Okay.
And like when they were in the media, they looked so cute together, and everybody was always like, "How did these two end up?" Because she's who she is, right? And he looked like really kind of hard, and he went by the moniker, was it Jesse James? I think actually, yeah, like it's so
hmm
funny. But I don't remember how long they were married, and if I messed up his name, I'm sorry. But anyway, I'm pretty positive that was by the name that he went by. But anyway, I don't know, she was like filming a movie. I don't remember what happened, but she caught wind that he was cheating. And I think if I remember correctly, don't quote me on this, but she found out like through the media. So it's like,
Oh
yeah, I think so.
no.
I think so. Like I said, she's a reflector, and here's where she's living in the self, where she was really in the self when it came to what to do, what to decide.
Yeah.
Because of course, everybody was like trying to blow up her phone, media trying to figure out what are you going to do? Are you going to stay with them? Are you going to leave? Are you going to divorce? Whatever, whatever. She did not, nobody saw her. She did not get into the media. She was not on social media. She was not telling anybody she was doing. And it was literally, I remember it was about 30 days. And all of a sudden, she's like, she didn't make an announcement. It just said, I don't know if it was her publicist who released she's divorcing him.
He's
That was it.
done.
She was done. And it was beautiful. Like I didn't know about this was like a long time ago now that I
No,
didn't know anything
yeah.
about design now. But when I started training and studying and learning human design, and then I learned that she was a reflector, I remembered that incident because it always struck me. It always struck me of how profound it was that she was so silent, in essence, so classy. She didn't let anybody know what she was going to do. And then there was just a decision, and she
That's
never looked
amazing.
back. Like she didn't renege, she didn't go back and
Wow.
forth. It was done. And to me, that is the beauty and the power of a reflector living in the self. She retreated. She was in her moon cycle.
I think it's just so beautiful. If you don't mind, quickly or whatever, going over like so the projector, depending on like what type of projector that you are, we go by inner authority, right? And then with the reflector, it's the outer authority.
Yeah. Yeah. So for the projectors, there are 5 different types of authorities. We call them personal authority. So we have the splenic projector, like you. We have the emotional projector, and that
Ooh,
person, the
that's
emotional
me.
projector, or anybody. It's not only a projector. It could be a
Okay.
manifestor, it could be manifesting generator, and not reflector. So because reflector is nothing defined. So
Oh, oh, oh,
anybody
oh.
who has their emotional solar plexus defined automatically has emotional authority. And the exception to that rule is the reflector because they have no centers defined. So going back to the projector, we have the splenic projector, we have the emotional projector, we have the ego projected projector, and that means that they have their heart defined. That ego projected projector gets their authority from their heart center, from their, which is also known as the will center or the center of the ego. And then there's the projector who is like me, which is called a self projected projector. And I get my authority from my G center. And the G center is the center of
Yes.
identity, love, and direction. And then we have the mental projector, who's also known as the environmental projector. All the authorities, therefore, I think I cover all the authorities.
Mm-hmm.
Splendid. Yeah, oh no, we have a sacral authority for those people who are sacrally defined and they do not have their, so the sacral defined or manifesting gender. Let's go through the types first. That's probably easier for us to do.
Yeah,
So
because
we have a manifestor
the
type.
the
We have a
manifester.
manifestor type, and they have an aura that is the manifester makes up 8% of the 8 to 9% of the population, and their aura is closed. Some people call it repellent. It's provocative and it's impactful. And the manifestors,
Oh,
yeah, the manifestors are here to create a movement or like create a campaign or create trends. They're here to stand in some form of leadership, whether that's they're a writer or a singer, like Adele is a singer, for example. I don't know if you
and
know
she's a
Teresa.
manifester.
She's a manifester. Teresa Caputo, the Long Island medium.
No
She's a
way.
manifester. And if you think about it, manifestors are here to kind of leave a legacy and create a movement. Well, Teresa created a movement and people believing in psychics, if you think about it. And
Yes, girl.
that's what
Mm-hmm.
a manifestor does. They bring something here that maybe nobody's
That's
heard of before.
beautiful.
Yeah. Ra
Wow.
Uru Hu, the developer of human design, he was a manifestor. And look at
No
how,
way.
yeah, millions of people now loving human design. And so that's what manifestors will do. They'll like change the world. There's
Manifest.
something really kind of interesting, unconventional because they stand in their leadership and they're not scared to be a lone wolf and go their own way. So that's the manifestor. Then we have a manifesting generator, and they're
Mm-hmm.
a sacral type. So a sacral being is someone who has their sacral defined. We have then non-sacral beings. Manifestors, projectors, and reflectors are always non-sacral. They never have their sacral defined. So the manifesting generator and the generator, they make up together 70% of the population. So about 35% of the world are manifesting generators, and then the other 35% are generators. And those people always have their sacral defined. And as a manifesting generator or a generator, you can have a personal authority that is emotional. You can have your emotional solar plexus defined as a manifesting generator or generator, and then that means you have a personal authority of emotional
Mm-hmm.
authority. That can be the same also, by the way, for manifestors.
Yeah.
You can, and then we also have 3 types of manifestors. You either have an emotional manifestor, that's because they've got that emotional solar plexus defined, or an ego projected manifestor, or we've got a splenic manifestor, by the way.
Hmm.
That means they have there are 3 different types of personal authority with respect to the
That's
manifestors.
just, it's amazing how you have all this in here, Laurie. I'm like,
You know what?
girl.
We were talking about like, because I've studied and worked in it now for a decade. And yeah, and that's by the way, that's a projector thing. The projector is here to study a system or systems that, flow into each other. Like, for example, EFT and human design, I saw where there's overlap. And I saw where there was gaps in human design to make human design practical so you could live it out every day. I saw a gap there and I saw EFT is the way to make human design practical that the normal person who hasn't who
No,
doesn't have this
yeah,
thing in their head like I do with all of this human design data, could go and live it. So yeah, and I guess I'll just finish off with respect to manifesting generators or generators. They could also just have a personal authority of just being a sacral that get their information, their decision making from their sacral, and then the
huh.
reflector. The reflector is the outer authority, and then the lunar authority. They get it from the sun. The sun was to be from the moon, and the
From the
mental.
sun.
Brain fog, brain fart.
Oh my God.
And then the mental projector, they're also considered an outer authority. All the other ones have an inner authority. The only two that have an outer authority are the reflector and the mental projector.
That's crazy. My girls are strategy to respond, manifesting generator, inner authority, evolutionary sacral. I thought they were emotional. That's, I'm just like, I feel
They
like,
have they have their emotional solar plexus not colored in, it's white when you're looking at their chart.
what is the emotional?
Yeah, so you see the square at the second square from the bottom up, that's the sacral, and then over to the right, that's the emotional solar plexus. That white
That's
one, that
amazing.
white triangle that is on the right side facing toward the sacral, that one is the emotional solar plexus.
I've never heard of evolutionary sacral to respond. So I guess when there's an invitation, they respond.
Manifesting generators and generators, sacral beings are here to respond to life, to the stimuli of life. And so they are responding or reacting all day long because life is super stimulating. So their job is to learn how their types strategy is to learn how to wait to respond, basically to discern, is this a uh-huh for me or is this an uh-uh for me? Is this a
I've
or is
heard
this an
that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there is this one guy, and I found him, and he does this like he'll ask you questions, you go, uh-huh,
Yeah.
uh-uh. And
But no, that's not for
that's
us projectors or that's not for us manifestors or reflect. That is
that's
solely for the manifesting generator and generator.
it would
That's
have been
not
nice
for
if
us
he would have told
projectors.
me that. That's
Yeah, no.
amazing. I'm gonna have to do that with my girls because it's
Mhm.
funny, my girls are very spiritual and like Scarlett or Leia will be like, God told me that my biggest lesson is patience. And I'll look at them and I'm
She's so
like,
true. Well, she really is. That is really true. Patience is the secret sauce. It's the elixir. It is the balm for
for the
manifesting.
manifesting
Mm,
generators, it's
mm.
patience. And I'm
Precious, precious.
there's Scarlett, I feel she can see spirit, and Alea can like, feel it. I practice get cups and I'll put something under and I'll be like, which one's I teach them a lot about spirituality and stuff. They sit here and they'll be like, Mom, I'm like really impatient. And we talk. And I think I told you before, I had them in a bunch of activities and I'm
Yeah.
teaching them like rest. You don't need to go, go, go. Because if it were up to them, they can go forever. And I'm just like, no, you need to learn, you need to wait. You need to learn patience. This is like just,
I want to tell you about the manifesting generator that's going to help you out is they are here to burn off all that sacral energy until they fall into the bed. Now, the thing oftentimes with manifesting
should
generators
I
is,
allow them to continue
yeah, you
going?
should, because guess what's going to happen if you don't? It's just going to
Laurie,
build
I'm
and build up.
tired.
No,
I'm
no,
tired.
no, but just go to bed. Let them burn it off while you're in bed and sleeping. Because otherwise, what happens is they're gonna have a buildup of energy. So you can let them be in their bed and working on stuff, working on homework or whatever they want to do, and they will
You
fall
know
asleep.
You know what's crazy? That is wow.
Mhm.
Wow. Because when it's bedtime, I'll be like, okay, bedtime. And then Scarlett will be like, okay. She loves to draw. That is
Let her.
her thing. It's literally she'll sit there, she has her tablet for the light, and then I'll be like, Scarlett, what did I say? I'm almost done. And I'm like, no. So thank
Let
you
her.
for that. Thank you
Let
for that.
her.
As a mother, okay. Just
Yeah.
because Cynthia's an old lady doesn't mean that's
Yeah, you need your sleep because you're a projector. So, because we have inconsistent sacral energy, we do not have constant fixed access to
don't.
work force energy, to life force energy, actually, or to sexual energy, actually, because that is what the sacral center stands for. So, when it comes to undefined centers, the centers that are not colored in, when we are around other people who have that center defined, it is colored in. So for us, we don't have our
And
sacral
that
colored
Scarlett
in,
and Leia
but
have
then
it
you
colored
meet,
in.
but then you got your girls who have that colored in. You actually absorb that as a projector and amplify it, make it look even bigger. So when you get around them, you might be like, oh my God, like I have so much energy, right? And you're actually running on a false energy because you're actually running on their energy.
And then it
So
goes like this. It
and
goes
then it goes like, yeah,
like
it does. That's right. That's right. So it's totally okay. You go to bed when you need to go to bed. And oh, sure, go ahead and say, okay, girls, it's bedtime. They can be in the bed, but go ahead and let them do what they want in the bed, the drawing, whatever it is, and you go to sleep. And you're
wow.
gonna notice, that maybe even the flapping is gonna stop and the spinning might stop because this is one way that they're burning that sacral energy
I feel
off.
like a horrible mom. Oh my
Not a horrible mom. Cynthia, who teaches us this? When you're having your babies, nobody hands you like a parenting by human
God. They
design
need
book.
to. Needs to cover Laurie,
Yes.
the human design, so she could go.
Oh, here's how to be a great parent and make your life easy.
Have you ever thought of having a service of helping parents? I don't know what I'm doing. Just everything you're telling me, for me, I prioritize rest. And it sounds like Scarlett and Alea need to drain their energy. But Laurie, I get tired and I get
Yeah, it's
overly
normal.
stimulated. I
Yes.
literally I get anxiety attacks. I'm not perfect. I yell. I'm like, shut it. Like,
Yeah.
stop. Have
Yeah.
you ever
I do.
thought of like coaching parenting? Like
Yeah,
you're amazing.
I've done human design readings for um parents with their children present as well. And I have to share with you, it's really interesting. I just actually did my last human design reading because I'm not interested in being a reader. I am interested in like,
Yes.
let me use your chart to inform you. And then now let's get into the nitty gritty, like how I can help you. Just like you said, where it's like, let's make these tools practical and I give you the information so that way you can get yourself out there and make your life as a parent easier as well as the child's life easier. Totally open to that piece of it. The reading piece I don't want to do. I mean, I will
No,
go over the
yeah.
highlights, but the actual like just what I did with you, that
Girl.
I love. Yeah.
I feel like it's so important. We're not all the same,
No,
you
no,
know?
and
And then,
that's human design is called the science of differentiation because
yeah,
that's really sort of what put this on the map, if you will, is honoring people's differences without expecting change from that other person in front of you. Like being able to go, okay, I know your chart, you know mine. This is where we're different. This is how I'm different from you. Okay, I also understand what your type strategy is, your authority, your personal authority, and I can honor that in
that's
you, and you can honor that in me. And then, of course, when it comes to like parenting by design, you can parent that child according to their unique
literally.
appreciation from you. Yeah. And that's what makes it really powerful and special. When people really start parenting by design, you see this instantaneous shift with your child. And just even the little stuff that we did today, you will see massive shifts by letting the
I,
girls go into their bed and just if they're gonna talk, even if they're just talking with each other, so long as it's not, disturbing your sleep, or they're
mhm.
just drawing or coloring or whatever they're doing, gaming, whatever it is, that's fine. So long as they,
Okay.
they fall asleep in the bed, because that is manifesting generator energy. They have the most energy of all the types. and it
That's
takes a lot to burn it off. The key is like if they can live all their passions that they have throughout their day, that it's burnt off by the time that they go to bed, that they might not even need to color and draw. That's ideal, but that's not always possible. So long as you know that they're not trying to be naughty or whatever. It's literally an
well,
energy.
no.
I kind of saw their chart really fast when you showed it to me.
Mhm.
Do you mind to show it to me just one more time there? Because I wanted to see what else they had defined in comparison to you.
Ah, can you
Yeah,
see?
see
Wait,
that?
let me
Yeah,
zoom.
they have,
Let me zoom in.
they have their, oh, that's the other thing. Okay, now I'm also seeing what's going on. They have their heart defined. So you see how they're in your chart, you have the heart in the middle, that's the G center, and then to the right of that, they have that colored in, that little red
Mm-hmm.
triangle that's facing the heart.
Mm-hmm.
That is also that's a lot to contend with, yes. So they have three motors I'm looking at because they've got their heart, their sacral, and their root defined. Those are all extra energy bumps, all extra energy resources.
They
There's
have a
four
lot.
motor, yeah, they do. There are four motors in the human design system, and they have three of the four of them defined. So for you as a projector, that's already a lot of energy being
I'm
thrown at.
so
Oh,
exhausted,
yes,
Laurie.
I know. When I look at the chart, I'm like, oh my God, you are so tired, poor thing. And all their definitions, see, what happens is not only are you absorbing their sacral, you're also absorbing all of the other definition that they have and amplifying it, making it even bigger. So it that heart center, that's the center of will, the center of willpower. So they have
Mhm.
a lot of willpower, those girls.
I feel like they're my inner child and their dad's inner child,
Yes,
like in two.
yes. That's
And
the
like
manifesting spirit. Yes, yes.
my parents call it disrespectful, but I just feel they have the right to question. They're
Ah,
not
oh,
talking
they
back.
will, and that
I,
will not stop
and I
from
love
from the
it.
definition they have. Yeah, and the thing that's so special about manifesting generators is they are here to teach us that anything's possible. They are high passion, they are high inspiration,
I
and they are
love
here to live out as many passions as they want to. So that's something that's very different than us
multitasking, right? I've heard that.
multitasking, multi-passionate, multi-hyphenate, and that's very different from us.
Did I tell you I kind of looked at my older sister is a manifesting generator. I think my mom's a generator. I think my dad's a manifesting generator. My nephew and my niece is a manifesting generator.
So no projectors
Um,
around you.
I don't think so. I don't know about like my little sister, but like growing up with that, like, my older sister, like, I looked up to her. Like, she was always working, like she made it happen.
Yeah,
She was like my second mom. I didn't view her as a sister. And I was always like, why is it that she can go, 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 but I can't? And
yeah.
now it's clicking. And then like
It's
with my
clicking,
mom
right?
too, we're like, I think my mom's the generator. And my mom was always going, going, going. And
Yep.
then my dad had that to him. And then with me, it was always just like, I don't have that in me. I would work 9 to 5 and I was doing customer service data stuff. And I would get overly stimulated.
Yeah.
And I just, that 9 to 5 is not for me, but
No,
um,
no, it's not for projectors. So listen, I want to be careful when I say that because some projectors can do 9 to 5. It depends on the role, it depends on the company, and it depends on the activity. So I want to be careful how I say that. So like if projectors are listening in and you do have a 9 to 5 and you feel successful and you feel recognized and you feel seen and and you feel like you have focus, and you feel like you can rest and take breaks throughout the day, go do it, no problem. But a lot of the 9 to 5 isn't that. So if a projector is in a 9 to 5 and they're feeling exhausted and burnt out and not successful and bitter and not recognized, that specific job is not for you.
my husband, Trey, he is a
Mhm.
projector, but I think, I don't know if I went over, he has like the cave thingy. I don't know what the heck
His
that is.
environment is caves.
Is
Yeah.
cave, and he is like a caveman, literally. And
Mhm.
he does trucking.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's
That feels
like,
like a cave. His little,
yes,
the
yes.
part
And
where he's driving. Yeah.
where he has his own routes, and it's just interesting because I'm like, you have two projector parents. He's extroverted. He does both. He like with the kids, he'll like he used to play, whatever, and just crazy. And I'm like the old lady that's like, stop, you know?
Well, Trey could be also amplifying, right? The energy of the girls. The see, because
Right?
that's what happens is um, when you don't know this system and you're around sacral energy as a projector, you're
That's so
absorbing,
crazy. I'm gonna have to
yeah,
look up
you're
his
absorbing that
family too.
sacral energy. Yeah. And then you're amplifying it. And so, you think it's yours and it's fun and all of that, like
But
when I'm
it's
my manifesting generator friends, before I get together with my manifesting generator friends, I sit myself down. I'm like, Laurie,
she has a
remember,
routine.
yes, remember, you are a projector. Enjoy your time with them. But then, I have to contain the time too. Like, I'm not gonna, I gotta be careful. Like, I can't spend like all day because
I love
then the next
that.
day I'm gonna be like, like a slug.
That's so
All
crazy.
my best friends
Our
are
manifesting generators.
generators, and I have one projector friend who's an emotional authority projector. Yeah, but otherwise they're all manifesting generators, and we vibe. We vibe, and of course, they're not here in this country with me. They're back in the United States, but we get on. Zoom, and we'll talk for hours, and we just really, really vibe. And that goes
That's
fun. But like when I
interesting.
noticed like I have one manifesting generator in this country and I hung out with her like all day, like two
Were
times.
you tired?
I wasn't tired, but I caught myself. I was like, I really know I'm running on false energy right now. Like I know, like just
I
I'm not
I
kind of
love
an
that
emanated person,
name.
but it was like over like even bigger and more expressive. Yeah.
I love how you say false energy
Yeah, yeah. Like
because
I
it
was
just
really aware this isn't mine. But it doesn't. But I think it's like if it's amplifying and it's amplifying in a beautiful way.
yeah, Trey has that with the kids where like I
Mhm.
mean, he's just, amazing and he play and then I don't know what's wrong with me, but like I'll sit there and I'm like, I feel the energy and it's too much. And if you break this glass, you know,
Yeah. He might also have more definition than you, and it also
he
does.
probably does. I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to
and it
look
also
at his
does
stuff,
depend on, what is his profile? Do you know? Do you
right?
remember what his profile is? Because
No.
the two line is extremely introverted. And
He's
because I'm a six line, I really say the six line is introverted as well. Like six lines, we love our alone time. Six lines, we can be in the world by ourselves. Six lines like can go out in the world and just people watch and love that and be fine. So you've got a six and a two line. Yeah, to me that's like double introversion. So I understand
I'm gonna
why
have to look him up.
yeah.
But I'm gonna ask you one last question. I know I don't want to keep you too long because my girl Laurie is on the other side of the
Yes.
world.
8 p.m. here almost. And projector, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go to sleep soon.
That's all right. Okay. So as I'm looking up Trey stuff, because I'm really curious. So, question. Do you have any advice on anyone that wants to get into human design, wants to just go on and like get into this work, like, EFT, human design stuff?
Yeah. With respect to human design, first of all, I would say run your chart. That's the first starting point. And you can run it on many platforms for free. Now, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
tell you, when you look at the chart, you're going to be like, what the heck? What is this? I think it says,
Right.
shapes and lines
Literally,
and
that's
numbers
how
and
it
symbols. Yeah. So you're probably like, doesn't make any sense. But most of the platforms where you run your chart, they give you a little mini report, a little mini reading. And so that gives you a little bit of a snapshot as to who you are by profile, by design type, what your strategy and your authority is, and some other things. Then the next
is.
thing that I would recommend with people who are, very interested in human design and wanting to try to live it out in their life is get a reading, truly get a professional reading, because then that's going to be able to explain to you more so um, what all of this means, the shapes, the colors, the numbers, etc., and how to implement your design, how to live your design. Yeah, with respect to EFT, again, I would also say the same. A lot of times people will just start going and watching videos and tapping along to videos, like on YouTube, for example. And there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong doing that. A lot of myself, I also do it, even as a trained, advanced practitioner in EFT. So I have a guy that I like, and I go and sometimes tap with his videos. But I know, yeah, I know that Not everybody can do that because if you have some deep trauma or hidden trauma, it can release that. And if you're not ready for that,
Good,
yeah.
Lori,
And you
girl.
can re-traumatize yourself. So if you're interested in making EFT a regular practice in your life, I would then say hire a practitioner, work with a practitioner, whether that's me or that's somebody else. Really, really start your practice in the right way by hiring a professional who's been trained in that modality. And then it's totally okay once you're working with a practitioner in between your sessions to tap with yourself, because that's something that we as practitioners are going to recommend and teach you to do anyway to get yourself into a regular tapping practice. So that way,
That
yeah.
makes me like so excited. I'm just like, oh my
Yeah, yeah, I mean, I tap every day, and even though I'm a tapping therapist, I have my fellow tapping practitioners that I do swaps with. So they'll be the practitioner and then I meet them next week and then they'll be the practitioner. So that way
That's
we stay in we stay in our own
beautiful.
practice. Yeah. And also because you know why? I'm working with so many people's emotions, right? Like,
Yeah,
and I
girl.
yeah, undefined emotional solar plexus. So if I'm not careful, if I'm not keeping up my tapping
You
practice
need
of
a
emotional hygiene,
ground.
yeah, and emotional hygiene, emotional management,
Oh my
emotional costing full on,
gosh.
then I can be like absorbing all of their emotions and then knock all my meridians out of whack. Yeah. I love splenic energy because splenic energy has so much joy. And actually, I don't have my spleen defined, but I have a gate that is gate 18
That
in
is
this.
splenic.
And this and has a joy energy. And whenever I'm with someone who has splenic authority like you, it's just such a nice, like there's always a
I
nice
love it. I know.
happy
It's an
joy vibe. Yeah.
amazing vibe.
Yeah.
So Trey is a projector. He waits for recognition and invitation, and his inner authority is creative, emotional solar plexus.
Okay,
Split
so he's
definition.
emotionally defined.
He's a 6'2".
He's a 6'2" like you. Okay. But he's emotionally
Girl.
defined. And that's
Whatever
where,
that means. Look, I
so,
don't know if you can
yeah.
see. Ooh.
Okay, so he's got his G's.
Ah!
Oops. Center. Uh-huh. Yeah. And you know what is I can, like with someone who has emotional authority and you don't have emotional authority, you will feel his emotional waves.
Because I've had a lot of friends tell me, like, you pick up on something before I even know it. And I'm just like, it's a vibe that I cannot ignore because if you have nasty energy, I don't want to talk to you with nastiness, but let's talk about it. Let's talk
Yeah.
about your trauma. Let's have a trauma dumping to make you feel better. I'll give you like embarrassing moments of myself. So we can...
No, but it's really true. Th Those of us, you and I, we don't have our emotional solar plexus
Is that
defined.
good?
So we're essentially emotionally psychic. And you will, I mean, it's very interesting the dynamic between the emotional solar plexus that is undefined and the person who has it defined. I have clients, for example, who are on the other side of the world and they have their solar plexus defined. And we won't talk, but I will know something's
Feel
wrong
something.
and I'm feeling them from thousands of miles away. And it's really interesting because sometimes I will feel like the energy is being thrown at me, like they're throwing their emotions at me. And it's like
I
a
feel that
psychic
is a
transference.
that
Yeah,
is a perfect exact.
yeah.
Thank you for
But
that.
they don't know that that's happening. They don't know that they're doing that. But from our standpoint, we're so tuned in with our solar plexus being open, with it being undefined, we feel immediately something's wrong with this person. But
What
I
do you
don't
do
think you
during
have
that
this. I take it
time?
in, like I'll feel it in my body, like it's against me, like it's happening to me
I don't
often.
feel it like that. I normally feel it outside and like I feel like because I don't know if it's like trauma where I'm like, do you not like me? Like that's the first it's like, do you not like it brings me back to when I was young. I was given the silent treatment a lot. So
Yeah.
like and then
Yeah.
I kind of observe I could tell like when I was younger when my dad would walk, I can tell if he was
Mhm.
angry or
Yep.
if he was content. That's the trauma that I have and it like bleeds into I call it a blessing and a curse because it's like the second I feel shift, I'm like what did I do? What's wrong?
And so this is super important for you from now on is the depersonalization part of it. And Cynthia, I have to tell you, this is where EFT to me, why I blend EFT and human design, because EFT is emotional freedom techniques. It's helping you cleanse and release emotions, whether they're yours or other people. Like it can be both, that you're releasing yours or you're releasing the emotions of other people, that especially as a
I need to
projector.
book a session with you, girl, because I
Oh,
know I love yoga and stuff, and I get scared when I do specifically the root, the solar plexus and the throat chakra yoga because I mean, like, yeah, I work with the chakras and stuff, but girl, and the sacral,
mm-hmm.
I get memories and I'm like, ah, fuck. And then I start crying, especially up
Yeah.
here too. And I just uncontrollably. So I can imagine what EFT. I'm gonna be in a session with Laurie. I'll be like, Laurie's gonna be like,
Yes.
cry.
Yes, and I know it can like feel uncomfortable, whatever, but it is important because it is deconditioning, it's detoxing, it's purifying. So even when you are doing that yoga, for example, and the crying is happening, I invite you to let it because it's otherwise it's going to store as energy that's not yours in those organs, and then you can lose connection to your spleen, to your splenic authority.
Let me pull some cards. As I'm doing this, go on and let everyone know where we can book you, girl. Like, even though I'm gonna put it in the show notes.
And thank you for that. My website is lifecoachlaurie.com, and my name is spelled Laurie. So lifecoachlaurie.com, Laurie. Everything is actually Life Coach Laurie. So Instagram is Life Coach Laurie, Pinterest Life Coach Laurie, Threads Life Coach Laurie, Facebook Life Coach Laurie.
Love
Um,
that.
yeah, and I do have a special page just for projectors at
That
Instagram.
I followed and
Hi, thank you. And you know, I followed you too on my Life Coach Laurie page. Yeah, that is called projectors recognized at Instagram. So if you're a projector and you want more projector education, projector support, more projector recognition and success, I also share my own projector experiences as well as being married to a fellow projector and my mom being a projector, my sister being a projector. So obviously I have a lot of firsthand experience and knowledge,
you're
myself being a projector, but
amazing.
also familial, projectorship, if you will,
What
and then
what was your
partnership,
dad? Was he a projector as well?
generator. No.
Ooh, my man was a
Mhm.
generator. Something about generators. I don't know. I don't know many, but I think my mom is, and I'm just like, yo, like you need to guide me. You can't just give me like the stuff and expect me to know what I'm doing.
Yeah, and that's the challenge because the projectors are the guides actually, and generators are not guides. So generators need a step-by-step process, whereas oftentimes the projector is the one giving them the step-by-step process. So oftentimes you'll hear, children who have been raised in an environment with a generator, parents also that they didn't feel seen. And it isn't that, you have lots of generators who love their kids. It's how we're built. And oftentimes what will happen is the generator parents will be like, my kid is like an adult. I feel like they're the ones who know more than I do when their child is a projector child. So
That's
it's not uncommon
interesting.
what you're saying with respect to feeling like you're saying, my mom, what you need to tell me, like you need to guide me
Guide
because
me. You can't
yeah,
just
but
sit
she's not a
here.
guide. She's not necessarily knowing how to guide where because you're a guide as a projector. So it's kind of funny, right?
I pulled some cards for you, but have you ever thought about doing like a podcast? You need to do something, okay? You
Oh
need
my gosh.
to do something. Okay, so intuitively, I am feeling there is this energy. And we have the Stargate heart. This is a heart chakra opening, unlocking generosity. I'm trying to trick the Zoom. And then we have the emerald. It's very green energy, very motherly, very I don't know if you know, Taurus embodies the heart chakra.
Yeah. Well, fascinating that you said that because that's the first time I actually heard that because I always hear about Taurus and throat. I never heard Taurus with heart, but this is what blows my mind is all this year, I have been focusing, like I already completed what we
Yeah.
call in human design my 7-year deconditioning process, but I
Girl.
feel like it never ends. I feel like it never, like I feel like it's a lifelong thing. And this whole year, I was like, I'm going back and I am deconditioning my heart center. I'm focusing on that, focusing on that, focusing on that. And I've been focusing on that so much this year, and so much has been unlocking. And then I get this message from
It's this green energy and it's this motherly energy. And it's like
mother.
you're just I'm seeing your heart space, and it's so like beautiful and interesting because it's like it's love, it's manifestation, it's receiving. I'm seeing this energy that's okay. So let's just pretend this is what I'm seeing in my mind's eye. I'm sorry, where it's a ball and it's green and it's like zoom, 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 and there's energy outside of it that's depleted. Energy vampires, no, but and it's like
Uh-huh.
but you're about ready to open it so that you can go on and decide, give people that love. It's like this love. It's like hitting my mother wound because I've never been like I don't like physical touch. I love you type energy. I don't know when or what. And again, it makes me wonder what is my girl gonna do? Whatever you do, keep in contact with me because I want to be a part of it as a projector nation. Um
Yes.
a podcast, a Patreon. I don't know, girl, but you're going to be doing something. I'm seeing caution tape, recharge,
Yeah.
retreating to recharge. And
Mm.
as you know, you're just going to be giving a lot of this motherly, loving, feminine energy, whether you're teaching it, whether you're giving it. I'm seeing like energy exchange,
Mm. Oh,
you
that would be
know?
so nice to have more. That's what I've been working towards is ensuring that it is a true energy exchange, not an energy depletion. And just like you said,
Yes, girl. I'm seeing we're at a high. I don't know what sign your body gives you where it's like rest and then it's
yeah,
like we're in this low and then we're on this high. Like I'm
yeah, that
seeing
is
it like
it.
that.
That's it. And that's like the projector vibe of the ebb and flow that we have when it comes to energy, when it comes to workforce energy. We're always in an ebb and flow. And interestingly enough, I pulled cards yesterday and I pulled relax and rejuvenate. Yeah. If you were conditioned against rest, like I totally was, I was conditioned
It's
not to rest.
lazy, you're lazy. What are you doing? Do something with your life. That's what
Yeah.
goes through my head.
Yeah. On weekends, there was no sleeping in. It was like, yeah.
Cleaning all the time.
So it really is about granting
Yes.
permission to rest, to recoup, to rejuvenate. And also, what I try to build in is like conserving and preserving and reserving energy ahead of time. So that way, there's like a reserve tank of energy. That's what I've been trying to work toward, you
Oh my
know?
God.
And thank you so much for this. I've really enjoyed our time together. But it's projector vibes.
Love it, but thank you. I'm gonna go out and like end it, but anyone that's on here, book with my girl. Now you recently just said you stopped the human design readings, correct?
Yes, but in my work, my whole work is combining human design with EFT. So we will do the
We're
EFT
shifting.
tapping.
We're
Yeah,
shifting.
with the human design. I used to do just a separate reading,
Yes,
just
yes, yes,
solely
yes.
a reading.
We're
Um,
merging it.
yeah, and I don't do that anymore. Everything is, well, my emotional free woman approach, which is combining human
Oh
design and
my God,
tapping
I love that.
together. So I use your human design chart to inform me how to customize and tailor make each and every session that we do together. Yeah.
Yes.
And what
Okay.
happened was I just noticed I didn't feel spark when I did the readings. I was like, I don't want to talk at people. Like what I love when we're doing our tapping sessions is we're together. We're tapping together. We're talking together, and that's like a real deep connection. And I didn't like that. I would get drained and depleted after just doing a soul reading. And I was like, okay, I can't do this then. If I'm if I'm enlivened, that's different than, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And human design is like, it's an equal core aspect with
Yeah.
EFT, my work, but it's just the way that I do it. I don't want to just only do it. I know people who just love giving reads. They give them all day long. And I'm like,
I
no,
can't do that.
not,
I can't do that either.
yeah.
I love that like shifting. I feel like that's happening in my business too. We're like, yeah, I
Yeah.
do cards and stuff, but I can't anymore.
Right. I want you to leave with the tools and have a practice. I want to show you how to put in a ritual, a practice every day that you can do so that you feel attuned to yourself and your own human design authority so you can live, yourself out in the
Right?
world. But if I'm just giving you a reading and now what? No, I want to get you into the
I love
rhythm. Yeah,
that.
like
I
I'm
love
a true
that.
practitioner. That's really what I am. I am a practitioner who's giving you the tools and guiding you and teaching you, and then you go out and do it
Yeah.
yourself. That's the purpose.
I love it. If anyone wants that combo, just like go on and book with my girl. I'm gonna have all the links and everything in the show notes.
I
All
want to
right.
say, and don't forget to book with Cynthia for some psychic and amazing tarot card readings. Come on.
All right. Well, thank you. Adios to everyone. That's bye.